So welcome everybody, and I would like to also welcome my passive participant, and we're going to talk about how you can still engage in discussion even though you don't take an active role. So would you mind letting us know, what did you think initially when you got online and you saw that I was requiring students to be in a discussion? How did that make you feel?
Oh, my anxiety well, to take a college course at this age after being out of school for so long was kind of a challenge. I didn't know how up to it I was. And then when I saw that, I thought, I didn't even think I could do it. There's the expectation that you're going to learn in an online class. And that was kind of, something that gave me anxiety to begin with. But then there's the expectation to perform when you've got the discussion pieces, and that's a whole other ball game as far as pressure goes. And so I think that, I'm not a person that does online, community things. I don't do Facebook. I don't do any of those things to begin with. And so that idea of participating and having my coworkers see me perform,
Sure.
Something I was definitely not up for. And when I spoke with you and explained my concerns, you instantly neutralized my anxiety because I was given the option of not having to participate publicly. But you also validated me as that, as my learning style or personality style.
Right.
And you didn't just see it as like slackerism, but as that some people really have anxiety with that type of performance expectation. And so to be recognized as still being a person who will be participating in learning and gaining from the class without having to be publicly present, I guess is how I would describe that.
Great. So the fact that you and I had a conversation about your particular participation learning style, and then the fact that I accommodated that was pivotal in your approach to online discussions, right?
Oh yeah, I probably wasn't going to go through with taking the class.
Right. Yep.
Just because I didn't realize that was going to be a part of it.
Sure, you bet. So then how did your participation change then after the anxiety was taken away and you knew you could just be passive in your participation? Were you online? Were you looking at discussions? Were you thinking about it? Kind of describe your experience then.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I gained just as much as everybody else did, and I feel like, you can enjoy it at your own pace. You can take it in as you go, and it's not something when you're reading it, you can just read it to get other people's opinions. You don't have to think, well, how do I respond to this? Or what a counter argument, or, it's sort of like you can just absorb it and you don't have to worry about, what it's going to look like to other people, or I guess if that sort of answers that question.
Yeah, you bet. And then from an instructor's perspective, though, I still needed to hold you accountable to that learning. So what did we agree to that you would do then so that I knew you were still reading discussions and, as you said, taking that information in?
Well, I think you said as long as I'm reading, as long as I'm in the discussions and participating there, and then I have my reflections show that I'm gaining from the discussions, that kind of met that requirement. And so I was in a discussion, but it was with you.
Right, exactly. You bet. Yeah, and that was
instructor who, I felt comfortable there.
That's great. You bet. And you and I had a few over the phone conversations as well, and that seemed to help, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's, I don't know, I'm trying to think of, who this little podcast would be for, but as far as you got elementary, middle school, high school, college students, if you're teaching kids in high school and above, and even in middle school, that human touch, I guess, is so important, especially because this is new, like this online instruction for high school, totally new. I mean, I know that kids are online all the time doing all their, social networking, but, having that, being able to call and explain, my ups and downs through the course.
Yeah.
really allowed me to keep going and feel like I was doing a good job. You know, I mean, I couldn't send a scrambled email trying to tell you how, you know, whatever. And so being able to make contact that way was crucial for me.
Good. So how would you see that playing out in a classroom with, say, you mentioned high school kids? Would you use that same approach? Would you be willing to make the phone call? What have you come away with from the course then? And also your experience as a passive participant.
You've got to connect. You know, I think if you're not connecting, and even if it's, I mean, it doesn't have to be a phone call. It can be the face-to-face meeting.
Sure.
Where you have, you know, a 5-minute meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Each student, you know, I mean, you just quickly check in. Yep. They see your face. I mean, there's so much that you miss online. You miss the laughter, you miss the smiles, the expressions, you know, you miss all those little nuances. And I think making sure that you have that human connection at least 5 minutes a week, you know, is for a lot of kids, they're going to need that. I mean, I'm a full-grown woman and I need it. So they definitely need it. You know, you need that to know that someone's willing to give you that, even though it's online.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's great. Well, good. Well, this has been very helpful. I appreciate you taking a few minutes and having this conversation with me. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
No, I think we covered everything. And yeah, thank you for being interested in my perspective. That's, I think the fact that you did sort of recognize that you can be an active participant while not, you know, I guess, doing the public participation, that was extremely validating. And I think it's that you, especially because you're like an online professor, that you recognize that that's a need of some students.
Right. Well, I might just say, and it'd be helpful for people who listen to this, a lot of the online skills that I have developed came from being in the classroom. And so when I was challenged to teach online, I knew that I was missing some of those face-to-face components that you just talked about. So I needed to find ways to transfer the way I could connect one-on-one or in a small group setting in a face-to-face class also to an online environment. So I've really had to think outside the box and make some adjustments to my teaching, but I think hopefully it's paid off and students can learn as much online, hopefully, as they do face-to-face.
I'm more of a believer now than I was when we started, and I'm glad I did the class, and it was definitely beneficial, and it might not have gone that way had you not given me the opportunity to participate the way I did. So.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Appreciate that.